This is Dragon Ball Z, my very first introduction to the world of anime. And this is my cousin Dujon. I watched Dragon Ball at his house.
Sick! I didn't even know you had the merch.
I've got probably about 5 or 6 t-shirts.
What?
There's just something about it. Dragon Ball Z to me is like the gateway to manga and anime.
But this is also Dragon Ball Z.
The first time I ever saw Mr. Popo, I remember just thinking, well, why did he look like that? I think that was actually my first introduction to what comic books were.
And this is quite a common portrayal of black people in anime. And yet, anime has a big black fan base.
A lot of people seem to kind of think that racism doesn't exist in Japan, and of course that's not true.
To be a fan is to be cheering in one scene and like hiding your head the next.
First of all, let's get something straight. I'm definitely not here to cancel anime. But as a black fan, I am here to say enough with the racism.
One of my favorite anime shows is Durarara, but the Black Russian is a problem. For the love of God, redraw him.
Sister Crone in Promised Neverland, they lean on that minstrel look, huge lips, bulging eyes, and it's disgusting, and it hurts because it's so glaring that it is anti-black, that it almost ruins the entire thing for me.
And even One Punch Man has Black Luster, who AKA Super Alloy Darkshine. I mean, it is very racist. And it's funny because I was getting into the show and I was like, I just said, okay, we're going to ignore that episode. But unfortunately, that's something that black folks again and again have to do. If we want to be fans of something and we don't want to cancel the entire genre, we have to pick and choose our fights.
But why does anime get blackness so badly wrong? To try and understand what's going on here, especially with a lot of the older shows, we need to think about this in context.
They're looking at us through the lens of American media, American television. There were no images of black people in animation outside of Disney and Warner Brothers animation in the 40s and 50s, and those images of us were very racist. I would direct your attention to the Jungle Book.
I want to be like you.
These references range from the grossly offensive to the unhelpfully reductive.
Coffee from Cowboy Bebop, she's a blaxploitation character. She's basically Foxy Brown, but on Mars.
Some argue that since anime is largely created for a domestic Japanese audience, creators can't be expected to respectfully represent racial diversity, because Japan is not a particularly racially diverse country. But these excuses don't hold water.
This isn't a case of ignorance. There's nowhere on the planet where people haven't seen a black person.
You can't just say it's like a thing without agency. It's not just like, oh, well, it was an accident that happened. It's like a conscious choice that people make.
When we argue about racism in anime, people are like, well, it's Japan, it's not here, it's not the same thing. And what they don't realize is on a global scale, it is the same thing because it's all over the world.
And it's not just anime shows themselves that are problematic.
A large amount of anime fans, I'm not saying all of them, but like it is a lot of them out there, hate when other people who don't look like them come into the fandom.
It was really only very recently that I talked about being an anime fan online because I don't like having those conversations day in, day out. I think where I see it the most is from my friends who cosplay. They'll get told, you can't cosplay that character because you're black.
I've been called slurs. I've been called a fake fan. I've been called many names, or you only like it because Megan Thee Stallion likes it, or you don't know any anime. It's a lot.
So if being a black fan of anime subjects you to this much racism, then why do we love it so much?
There's no one answer. For me, the fact that I didn't have to engage with Western politics and I could look at something else for once and learn about something else. And also just because these things are cool.
In a lot of anime that I'm familiar with, like there's usually some layer of prejudice against a hero. Like some people doubt them, some people think they can't achieve it, or just that they're hated. So Naruto, for example, he's treated poorly for a large part of his life, but he still rises to the occasion and perseveres to become Hokage one day. I think that's powerful. I mean, like there's tons of characters like that who face that in their journeys. I think it resonates with me as a Black woman because it is just something where like existing in itself can be a challenge. Existing in a world that does not want to accept us is challenging.
I love Kurosawa films and things like that, and a lot of the anime followed those storylines. There's let me walk the earth like Cain and avenge the death of my master.
There's a lot of parallels here with black people's affection for kung fu films, but that's another video.
It's a really interesting thing now that I think everybody is sort of kind of coming out and going, yeah, I've been a fan of this for years. If they're over the age of 35, they're going to remember getting bootleg VHS, or friends got them and dubbed them and passed them around. And that's why the black anime audience is older. People think, oh, now black people like it too. No, we've been here.
Anime references in black culture goes back decades, especially in hip hop.
That is why there's so much of an anime influence in Boondocks. Aaron Magruder, he was clearly a fan. LaShawn Thomas, who was also one of the people who worked on that show, he went on to actually move out to Japan and work on anime on his own. And he created Cannon Busters that came out last year.
LaShawn Thomas was also one of the storyboard animation production artists on Avatar: The Legend of Korra, and he's part of a small but growing number of black people involved in the production of anime. In the US, there's Saturday AM magazine that features manga from a whole host of diverse artists. And then there's Noir Caesar, a black-run company which has diversity and representation as its mission statement. They're currently adapting some of their manga into anime shows.
I will say that there are creators out there who are fixing it. Black-owned studios, like stationed in Japan. There's also shows like Carol and Tuesday that have great representation for black characters. So I do have a lot of hope, but I will say it's like by creator.
There's so many things that we've accepted for so long because we were just so happy to be included at all. We can ask for more, And I think that's what a lot of fans are doing.
You'll have more folks who are like, I would like to be in a space where I'm not feeling so entirely alone. There are so many people like myself who are interested in this sort of thing. It's not just like a white fascination. It's like a thing that a lot of people share in and enjoy.
I've got lifelong friends just off the back of the fact that we keep out together. I love anime. I love it.
There's spaces that are like advertised as just like, look, if you're black and you're into this stuff, then like come on down. And it will be, in a convention hall somewhere in the States.
We feel encouraged to make a space where fans like us can feel welcomed and no one feels excluded. It's really about a community and being able to enjoy it together.
If you want to hear more from Black British anime fans, I've put some links in the description to some great podcasts. Both Neisha and Karama have their own podcast, and they're brilliant, so check those out as well. I'll also include some links to some of Kambole's excellent articles and reviews on a whole range of different genres. Lastly, this is the first in a series of videos called Black Enough, delving into black arts and culture. Subscribe if you want to see more.